Hi everybody, this is Father Warner D'Souza recording out from my terrace. I thought we'd have a little bit of a change of venue. Today is Monday after Epiphany, and our text is taken from Matthew chapter 4 verses 12 to 17 and 23 to 25. The text of today is preceded, if you look at your Bible, by the temptation of Christ in the wilderness. Here we are at the beginning of Jesus' ministry. He leaves Nazareth and settles in Capernaum, a busy fishing and trading center on the Sea of Galilee. Zebulun and Naphtali are northern provinces, once tribes, and Capernaum is in Naphtali while Nazareth is in Zebulun. These provinces fell to the Assyrian king Tiglath-Pileser III in the year 732 BC, a full decade before the fall of the other provinces in the north. Some might, reading this text, accuse Jesus of withdrawing to Galilee lest he share in John's fate. But Galilee is ruled by the same Herod Antipas who arrested John, so Jesus cannot escape danger here. Matthew makes it clear that Jesus goes to Galilee as a fulfillment of the prophecies, and that we read in verse 14. The words are, so that what had been spoken through the prophet Isaiah might be fulfilled. Galilee was small geographically but had a large population, approximately 204 towns, with populations of 15,000 people or more, according to the great historian Josephus. This provides opportunity for many people to hear Jesus' message. Most of Jesus' ministry will take place in Galilee. Almost all of his teachings and healing ministry will take place in Galilee. And then one might wonder, why is Galilee referred to in verse 15 as Galilee of the Gentiles? Galilee was considered by some as a contemptuous place, especially by the religious elite of Jerusalem in the south. The scrupulous people of Judea held that Galileans were almost like what we would call low lives. They held them in disdain. When Nathanael asked, can anything good come out of Nazareth, in John chapter 1 verse 46, his question reflected a general low opinion of Galilee and Galileans, half pagan in cult and bilingual, and many of the people spoke Greek as well as Aramaic. When the Israelites first settled in Canaan, God said, when you cross over the Jordan into the land of Canaan, you shall drive out all the inhabitants of the land from before you, destroy all their figured stones, destroy all their cast images, and demolish all their high places. We read this in Numbers chapter 33 verse 51 to 52. However, Naphtali, Asher and Zebulun, three of the 5 tribes that settled in Galilee, failed to drive out the Gentiles, but instead dwelled in their midst, as we read in Judges chapter 1 verse 30 to 33. In addition, Galilee was surrounded on 3 sides by Gentiles: Phoenicians on the west along the Mediterranean coast, Aram and Syria to the north and northeast, and Bashan, which was situated to the south. Major trade routes passed right through Galilee, and it was often invaded. Galileans therefore had more dealings with Gentiles and were more open to new ideas than the Judeans. By the time of Jesus, Galilee had more Gentiles than they had Jews. And right into this walks Jesus. The people who sat in darkness saw a great light. To those who sat in the region and shadow of death, to them a light has dawned, as we will read in verse 16. This is a quotation actually taken from Isaiah chapter 9 verse 2. The people to whom Jesus brings his ministry have been sitting in darkness, but Jesus' coming brings them great light. Interestingly, Isaiah chapter 9 verse 2 reads, the people who walked in darkness. By the time of Jesus, this darkness has become so dark that Matthew is compelled to indicate the paralysis of the darkness of sin that has caused the people to simply become immobile and sit in this darkness. Matthew indicates that God has chosen Galilee of the Gentiles in verse 15 to be the place where light will shine, rather than Judea, the home of the temple and the place where darkness will eventually prevail at Jesus' crucifixion. Light and darkness are used in both Old and New Testaments as metaphors for good and evil, order and chaos, security and danger, joy and sorrow, truth and untruth, life and death, salvation and condemnation. Having begun to assemble his disciples, Jesus turns to his work. He teaches in their synagogues, as we are told. He pronounces the good news of the kingdom. He makes the sick and infirmed whole. These will be the defining characteristics of Jesus' daily labors in the Gospel of Matthew. Teaching, proclaiming the kingdom, and healing are integrated components of his ministry, not discrete pieces. I thank you for being part of these daily reflections. Do subscribe to this channel if you haven't, and please do share this good news with your friends. Have a blessed day, everyone.